stronger-willed person just trying to get through it, get to the next objective, finish the next task, you know.
Yeah, I wish they would have showed how many times I said este pendejo. Like,
Let me tell you something, guys. Fishing magician, man. Fishing magician, man. I'm a fishing magician, man. Fishing magician, man. I'm a
Camera's recording. All right, and let's go. All right, go for it.
Good, we live. What's up, guys? It's episode 5 of the Unpacking Yakking podcast. Today, we have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Malorie Romero from season 15 of Naked and Afraid.
Awesome. So I got to give it to Roland here. He kind of hooked it up big with getting her on. I'm very new to the Naked and Afraid series. I've honestly never watched any other than the ones that you were in. But I mean, I've heard about it. Who hasn't heard about it? But I was just like, man, that's crazy. I was telling some buddies who knew we were doing this that you were going to come on, and they were like, that's so crazy. Like, how do you already have these type of guests? I'm like, I don't know, Roland. I don't know. So he's going to be off mic or off camera, but he's going to be able to pop in and out, so he may jump in, have some questions and so on. So we'd like to start every podcast kind of the same to kind of really get to know the guest from your perspective. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how long you've lived here, if you've not lived here your whole life, so on and so forth. So tell us about yourself, Malorie.
I'm here from San Antonio. I've been born and raised in San Antonio. I went to school in the South Side, still live in the South Side. I've been hunting and fishing pretty much my whole life. I'm pretty self-taught, and I just try to get out there as much as I could.
Awesome. What high school did you go to?
Okay, I went to a couple of high schools, but West Campus and McCullum.
Okay, yo, Rough Rider, or what are they? The Cowboys, right? McCullum Cowboys and Cowgirls.
And the West Campus Cougars.
Nice. West Campus
That doesn't
Cougars.
mean I'm an actual cougar, so.
So the West Campus Cougars and McCullum Cowboys. That's cool. I went to East Central High School. Okay. I went to East Central and then graduated at Brandeis. So I mean, when you say you're on that side of town, that when we were talking about Samuel, again, our biggest sponsor, Outdoor Alpha, had a shop on that side of town. I was Rigsby, cool. You know, it's no longer there, but I went to school over there, so I know exactly that area.
And I used to be a high school teacher for Edison High School.
Nice, the Bears.
What is it? The medical magnet program is what I taught.
Nice. Awesome. So you're born and raised in San Antonio.
Born and raised.
Awesome.
Here in San
Been here your whole
Antonio.
life. Nice. San Antonio's on the up. I always tell people San Antonio is a little hidden gem that's not so hidden anymore. We're the 7th largest city in the country. We have, some top Fortune 500 companies in the city, and it's just growing. And then
I love San Antonio.
Me too.
That's why I won't leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And my wife's from Laredo, and when she moved here, she's like, I really like that she's grown to love San Antonio, and that it kind of has a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, it almost has like that feel of a small town.
It really does.
It's a big city.
It's the 7th largest city in the country, but it has a small town feel, and that's special.
Absolutely.
That's special. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So as she said, she was on season 15 of Naked and Afraid.
No gear, no fear.
No gear, no fear. That's crazy. So I've been hunting and fishing my whole life as well. But
think about it. If they took away all your gear, everything,
basically you're just,
how much of a hunter and fisher are you?
I mean, I feel like I could try it, but I don't know that I would volunteer, because I watched the Kins. I think it was the Kins 5 or one of the interviews that you did, and you had said that you had never seen the show and you were going in straight up blind.
I straight up went in. I've seen bits and pieces here and there. My grandpa used to watch it. He was a huge fan, so I saw bits and pieces. But first of all, never did I think that I would be on there. So I never applied. So one day they hit me up and they're like, hey,
I was going to ask, did you apply? So you didn't apply? So somebody from Naked and Afraid approached you?
One of the production companies, somebody from one of the production companies messaged me, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is real or not.
And where'd they message you on? Facebook, Instagram? On Instagram.
And I was like, how did you guys find me? And he's like, your hashtags. I'm like, dang, I didn't even know those worked, but okay, I was just
are falling off
whatever.
now, but there you go.
Yeah.
What did they say? Did they tell you a specific hashtag that like targeted you? Or?
I think it was like outdoorswoman or something that I had put.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So be careful what you hashtag, boys and girls. Next thing you know, you end up naked and afraid, getting attacked by mosquitoes.
In the middle of the jungle, being like, what the hell did I get myself into?
That's crazy. So hashtags is how this production company found you.
Yes.
And they were just like, so when you received the message, were you like, nah, this is fake? way.
I was like, this can't be real. Naked and Afraid. Come on, that's the Discovery
grandpa
Channel.
loved this show.
There's no way. And I was like, you know what the hell? I'm gonna see what it's all about. And all of a
So
sudden,
what was the process after that? You said, okay, let me.
So I had to do all these interviews.
Okay. Where at? Here?
It was
or...
a lot of Zoom interviews.
Okay.
A lot of psychological testing.
Okay.
And which is kind of funny, some of it, because I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna let me in, but I guess they did. But a lot of psychological testing, medical testing, make sure you're
physically capable of
and mentally able to handle it.
Okay,
so.
cool. And the production company, are you able to say like where they're out of, or no? Like, are they?
Yeah, it was. What is it?
Like what state?
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it was just a company that you were just kind of like on good faith that they're legit.
Yeah, and I did my research.
Okay,
I did
cool.
do my research, to make sure that, of course, that they weren't going to just send me somewhere and harvest my organs. So
just end up in some crazy like.
Yeah, so I did my research.
There you go.
But even with the psychological testing that they did.
Can you talk about what some of that was, or
yeah,
no?
so for crazy thing is that they were like, hey, yeah, you're going to do the psychological testing. You have to be logged in through Zoom, and they're going to give you this interview. So I'm out there fishing. And I'm like, oh shit! Like I have this interview like in an hour. I was like, there's an island over there. Y'all go drop me off when I was on the boat. So I'm getting off the boat, and as I'm getting off, I grab my rod just in case, and I go to the bucket, and I grab a whole handful of
bait
of shrimp, live shrimp, and I throw it in a cup, my styrofoam cup, and I get off, and I was like, I'll call you guys when y'all can come pick me up because I'm supposed to be by myself.
And where were you at? Like at the coast?
Yeah, I was at the coast.
Okay, cool.
So they dropped me off on this little island, and
You had cell service, luckily?
Yeah, I did have cell service.
Cool.
So anyways, I get in, and it's the wind's blowing, and there's this big old oil thing I guess they brought from under the water. So I kind of go under there, and I get in the Zoom call, and the man's like, where are you?
You're like, I've been kidnapped.
I'm like, I'm on an island.
And they're like, you're hired.
And he's like, let me see your eyes. Because I had my glasses on, and I bring up my glasses, and I'm like, look, they're red. I'm not high. I'm not drunk. I just haven't slept. I've been fishing for over 24 hours already. And I'm like, oh my God, this is bad.
Like, you're like, it's a disaster.
As I'm talking to him, in my peripheral vision, I see one of the shrimp jump out of the cup. So I'm talking to him, and I like reach over and I put the shrimp in the cup. And he's like, what did you just do?
That's hilarious.
And I was just like, I don't know. Either he's going to be like, you're perfect for the show, or you're just
this lady's crazy. Let's go ahead and pretend there was some static and drop the call. That's crazy. So after that, they were like, she's perfect.
I guess so. I was like,
so, but what were those psychological tests?
So
is
it
what
was
I was
like,
asking.
it was a lot. Like 300-400 questions. It was like they just ask you everything,
just to make sure that you're not gonna like go crazy, do anything crazy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now I can always tell people, like, when they tell me I'm crazy, I'm like, no, I'm not. I had some psychological testing done that says I'm
and then
not.
you're like, I'm not crazy, but I was on Naked and Afraid. And then the guy's like,
you're crazy.
Yeah, she's a little crazy.
Bro, I would have tapped out just with the psychological questions, man. This is too much for me.
I'd have been like, I haven't read since 8th grade, so we're gonna have to go. I'm just go ahead and find somebody else.
So while I was having that interview, like, I was still like fishing, and I ended up catching a couple of reds
on the Zoom.
Well, he didn't know I was getting them, but
gotcha. You was like popping in behind the oil
and
tanker.
Then right when we finished, I waited for my brothers and everybody to come get me, and so I caught a couple of reds there too. So
nice.
I still got a good fishing experience.
So then how'd it go from there? So you passed the psychological test, you passed the physical test, or after the psychological test, I'm assuming they had you go to like a doctor to check your body, make sure you
heart test and blood work and all kinds of stuff, and
just to make sure that you're physically,
able
to, because and we'll talk about the premise of the show in a little bit, but to make sure you're physically and mentally capable to survive, at least, for whatever that you need to survive.
Absolutely.
Because okay, and then once they've like finalized, you and everything about you, when did they take you, or what was the process like after they basically said she's perfect for the show and they cast you for the show? What's next?
First of all, when they were doing the one of the last interviews, right, I don't remember who he was, but he looked like somebody really important. And we're doing the interview, and he's like, I'm at my house, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm searching for my snake. And he was like, what? I was like, my kids lost the python. I'm trying to find it. And I know it's around here.
That's funny. So you have like a ball python or something?
So, yeah, well, I never found that one, but I have 2 other ones now that are
So like that one's just loose on the streets of San Antonio.
probably in my house still. I never saw nothing bad.
So there you go, guys. Hey, if you miss a cat or something on the south side of San Antonio, it could have been her python. Just letting you know. Small dog, child, whatever. Be careful. Okay, so talk to somebody really important, and then when did they I guess once you were cast, what happens after that?
So they're like, we'll let you know, blah, blah. They didn't know when. And I was like, okay. So then I'm at HEB one of the days after work and about to go get my kids from school. And I get a phone call and they're like, hey, are you able to come out and do Naked and Afraid in 11 days? I was like, wait, what?
They drop it on you like that?
Like that.
And what do you do for a living?
Where am I going to go? They're like, oh, we can't tell you.
And what do you do for a living? Like how does that play into?
I'm a dental hygienist. I'm a full-time dental hygienist.
Okay.
I'm a CPR instructor through the American Heart Association.
Sweet.
You know, I have 2 kids. I do it on my own. One week my ex-husband has the kids. The next week I do. So we just kind of.
How'd that conversation go with your ex-husband?
Back and forth. Yeah, that was cool.
So you're gonna take the kids for how long was the shooting?
No. So I was just on my weeks that I have my kids. I had talked to my dad and my mom,
Gotcha. To take care
of them, and then of course he was going to have them on his week.
Sweet. And how long were you gone?
I was gone for a month.
1 month. Okay, cool. So you get the call out of the blue. You're shopping at HEB after a long day of work, and you're like, "What the heck?" So this is real. How quick did they give you to decide? Are they like, "We need an answer right now," or think on it?
No, I just told them, "Yeah, I'll go." Said yes, I'll do it.
Cool. And how long from the interview to the casting would you say it was? When they called you? How long was that wait?
Well, when they first got a hold of me I think it was October. Mm-hmm. And then
what year?
October 2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah, and then I left in April.
Okay. And this is obviously during the pandemic. So
this is 2022. Last year I left in April.
Okay.
And then I got back in May.
Okay.
So it's been almost a year now.
So they call you in 2021, tell you that you're going to leave in 11 days, or they called you in 2022?
No,
tell you
2022.
Okay, cool. So it was
11 days prior to when I left.
So the pandemic was already kind of cooling off,
Yeah.
so that wasn't a concern.
It still was. You know, I had to wear my mask. I had to get the COVID. They kept giving us COVID tests.
Yeah, to make sure you weren't going to bring it there, because then that would obviously alter the whole basis of the show.
So they took all precautions when it comes medically. So I didn't have an idea. I didn't have any clue where I was going to go, but I did cheat a little bit because when they sent me to go get all my vaccines, I looked up all the vaccines, where are these diseases?
Okay, cool. So
and
basically,
I had an idea that I would be in South America. I just didn't know where.
Gotcha. So that's something that, that as a regular viewer, maybe we wouldn't know. But now that we have you kind of on the behind the scenes of it, you had to get vaccinated for, I'm assuming, malaria.
All kinds of stuff. I know they poked me left and right. I was like, I'm going to drink water, and water is just going to come out of my skin.
That's cool. But that's good that they took precautions to make sure nothing, seriously.
Did.
And I mean, I like watching that show Alone. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Yeah, so now when I see that show, they're camping.
Gotcha.
Camping.
Gotcha. Ooh. Juicy. So again, those shows, I'm like, man, they have to, I wonder what the ins and outs are and all that. So we watched, that first episode. They literally drove you in on a Ranger, on a Ford Ranger, and they just dropped you off, and you had to get butt naked and go on from there.
Yep, and there is a camera crew.
Okay.
They're there from the morning to maybe in the evening. You don't know the time, but I'm assuming around 5 o'clock they leave. Mm-hmm. And you're pretty much on your own. You get these, they have cameras around on the trees, and you have your diary cam. Which I kept getting in trouble because I would take off without my diary.
Gotcha. So I was going to ask, what is it? Is there a set boundary? How are you able to talk about this?
They're not really allowed to talk to you much. No,
I mean where they dropped you off. Is there a boundary that are they there to make sure you're not going to get attacked by some local villagers?
No,
You're not going to.
I mean, technically there is a medical team, like I guess within like a mile or something. But
Gotcha.
if, a jaguar comes up to you, they're not in 1 mile away. They're not gonna get
Yeah,
you in
yeah.
time.
No, the danger's real.
You know,
we're not taking away from that. I'm just curious as to like, let's
Can we
say
travel that far.
there was where was it at? It's like, did they rent a plot of land from a ranch owner or something? Like, where did they tell you where they picked where they were going to drop you
No,
off?
they don't tell you nothing.
Gotcha,
They just
gotcha.
take you, they drop you off, and you just walk and you eventually find your spot.
'Cause
where
I
you want.
saw-
You don't have to camp out on that spot if you want to keep moving.
Can you talk a little bit closer?
You don't have to camp out on that
you go.
spot. You can move around, but once you make your
Base camp, you're gonna stay there.
You're gonna stay there because you don't want to waste those calories and make another spot.
Gotcha. So I did see on the episode that they gave you like a map, like just a real rough, like a aerial footage or aerial shot, and then like they like had the river kind of on red.
It's not a very detailed map.
No, but at least it gives you the direction of where you're gonna go,
Yeah.
or where to head and where to not
An
head.
idea. Because
Gotcha.
I mean, it's not like the jungle.
Gotcha,
And the
exactly.
jungle pretty much looks,
Everything looks the same.
alike.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So I guess now we'll get into the questions that obviously everybody wants to know. I mean, just out of pure curiosity. So when you get dropped off, there's just a guy there with a camera. He's like, "All right, go and get naked."
Pretty much. Yeah.
And
pretty
you're
much.
just-
They're
and
like,
how'd you feel? Were you
and
like,
I was like, shit, this is like my mind's going
like, this is
crazy. I'm
real.
like, this is about to go down. Like, I've always been very, how do I say it?
Like
Very
conservative?
conservative.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm not. And now I'm
not
I'm
out at the
about to
club.
go. I'm about to go naked, like in front of the world.
Gotcha.
This is about to happen, and like nobody's ever really seen me naked. I was married for 21 years, or not married, but with my ex-husband for 21 years.
It's not like everybody was seeing you naked.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now I'm just gonna go bare ass to the world, and I'm like, shit, man, this is like in my head, and I'm like, well, I'm already here, right? I already made that.
Like
choice.
at that point, you're like in South America. You just hopped off a truck on a dirt road, and he's like, "All right, it's time to just."
Like, what happens if I would have just said, like, you know what, I can't
don't
do
wanna
this
do
after
it.
all.
Man,
Yeah.
did anybody do that? Do you know if anybody had just
No,
like bailed?
No, they have. Not that I know of.
Gotcha. I'm pretty sure they're like, I mean, at that point, you're so fully committed. You've been vaccinated.
Yeah.
You traveled. How long was the flight?
I think it was like 16 hours.
Jeez,
It was forever.
16. Did they give you like a day to bounce back, or they just throw you out there jet lag and all? Like from when you landed in South America
we had some time.
to recuperate.
Last
Yeah.
meal?
Yeah, we did, but I don't know. It wasn't even that good.
No.
Really?
It was I don't even know, some weird meat.
Yeah, it was like some South American
Yeah, it was like-
cuisine, and you're like, this
God,
ain't.
you could've
This,
at least giving me a steak before I went in.
you couldn't give me some barbacoa and Big Red or nothing. They just give you some weird tamale and water.
Talking about that, there was a time in there where we get that big grub,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't make the episode, but I knew that it was during fiesta time. So I put the grub on the stick, and I'm like, San Antonio may be having their fiesta with their chicken on a stick, but I got my grub on a stick.
That's funny. That's funny. So they drop you off, you get naked, and then they just kind of like, all right, go ahead. And like, how did they, I guess that's something that I've always been curious about.
So like as a cameraman, when I was watching that scene, they're getting B-roll like as you were undressing. I was like, that's got to be fucking weird. Did they get you? Hold on, stop right there. Let me get this thing.
Yeah, how
No,
much?
they have a couple of people with cameras.
Okay. Yeah, I was like,
And they're
And
directing
it's
you the
just
whole time?
weird. They're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not even really directing. They're like, just okay, take off your clothes.
And they spread out and got different angles?
Yeah,
That's
so
what
let
I
me
want to
tell
know.
you,
I want to know
didn't know
the
that that's
juicy
what we
stuff.
were gonna do right then
Yeah.
and there. They said interview, right? So yeah, they interviewed right before that. So I dressed in. I wasn't supposed to be. I had makeup on. If you notice,
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to have makeup on. I wasn't supposed to wear that outfit. That's not the outfit I took to go into the jungle with. You know, but. I didn't realize that like that was it. We were starting. So the outfit I had on was a onesie. It was like one of those bodysuits.
Yeah, that you
which
like-
was super embarrassing because I'm there like trying to unbutton it, and I'm just like, oh my god, this would happen. And
And then they got like three guys spread out behind a blade of grass.
all looking weird, right? It's kind of creepy.
So that's got to be
that's
creepy,
what I was
right?
looking at. I was like, that's B-roll right there. I was like, I'm wondering if they got
if
her
I'm
to like
not
stop.
mistaken,
Yeah.
I think he just put the camera down.
Yeah, he
right
did.
there.
He did. But like being there as like a person, like that's awkward as fuck to have somebody there. You know?
Yes, it was.
One guy behind you, ass shot.
Like I
Yep,
felt
this
all
is the
kinda,
shot.
and then not only that, it's hot. The mosquitoes
Yeah.
are already biting me. I'm really getting the feel of the jungle at this moment. So I'm like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? And then I'm like, oh shit, now you gotta take off your clothes. Like, shit, this is crazy.
So, so then you get naked and they just say walk off in that direction. Are they directing you? Is it
on
all?
that part, I just kind of walked. They said, okay, once you're done, you can just walk into the jungle. So I walked into this part where I just like kind of my legs just went all the way into the swamp, and I'm like walking through and feeling these thorns, and I'm like, keep your composure, keep your composure.
It's like your first 10 minutes.
Like I don't want to fall to the floor. Right when I get in there, and like all weak.
Yeah.
Dang. And so whenever you met up with your partner, they did the same thing with him, or like was that all coordinated and they made it look uncoordinated?
I never saw him at all.
So that was a genuine meetup.
That was a genuine meetup, and they take a lot of precaution in making sure that we do not see each other before, and especially with it being such a small town, small area, they took a lot of precaution to make sure that that is an absolute genuine meetup.
They blindfold you moving places, or
there was times where we weren't allowed to look. Like they took a lot of precaution on that.
Gotcha. So then you walk out, you get knee deep in muck, and then so what's it like? What's your first initial reaction when you see your partner?
Just like, there's
Soy
a
boy.
naked
Soy
man
boy.
coming towards me. Act right.
That's funny.
Come on, act right.
Naked man with a man bun.
You better act right.
That
Don't
is
say
funny.
nothing
Were
stupid.
you worried? Were you worried about that at all? Like the whoever your partner was going to make it like awkward, like, or were you like, he's been through the same test, he's been through
Yeah, I figure his anxiety levels were probably the same.
the
as mine
same.
at
Gotcha.
that
And
moment.
it wasn't going to be anything weird or creepy because again, both of you are freaking butt naked, getting tore up already, and you're just kind of like, all right, whatever, we're adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and and I'm not gonna lie, like the whole time from beginning to end, like I was like, I'm not gonna look at that part of his body.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, but nope, not there.
Nope, that's funny. And you made it a mission the whole time to keep your eyes up above the chest?
Yep, never gonna
Nice.
focus
Did,
there.
Did you feel like he did the same or no?
I think so.
Right, it was mutual?
We never made it seem like I think even after maybe like the first hour, it's like we weren't even naked anymore.
Gotcha. That's cool
Yeah.
because I think that that's something that I was like, curious on, but also thinking at that point, y'all are both in the same level of vulnerability that it's just normal at that point. It's it's primal.
Yeah,
It's just
and
like
it's funny because I was watching the show and I see the part where I'm like behind him and he's messing with the bees. I'm like, damn, his ass is like right there in my face. I didn't even remember that. But shit.
that's cool. That's cool though that like you're just both at the same level of anxiousness, anxiety, just curiosity, scared. That you're not really focused on that part of it. But I think that's like a selling point of the show, I would say.
Yeah, and for me, too, just having like the camera crew there and they're, you're naked. And it was a little bit uncomfortable, but they don't make it uncomfortable. They're even when they do have to talk to you, they're giving specific instruction. They can only look for it's pretty much like the neck up. They look at you. And
So they're very professional with it.
Very, very professional.
Nice.
And to the point where there was times where I would get bored and I'd try to talk to them. And then you can hear the producer like, Mal, you can't talk to him. I'm like, God, it's so
That's
boring
funny.
here. Nobody else to talk to.
I have a question. Did any of them bust out like a Snickers bar or something?
They're not allowed
Okay.
Yeah,
So they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to help you. There was one time where I fell like in the thorns, right?
Yeah.
And like you kind of expect somebody to help you. They would just get their camera and they zoom in to see if you got a tear right
They were
there,
like-
and they don't give a damn.
You're like,
I
can
was
you-
like, ah.
That's crazy. So pretty much you like had fell and you were like, and then the guy's just
I
like,
fell off this stump and I fell into the palm fronds that I had thrown there, and all the little thorns are like stabbing me, and and you just see them like zooming into your face.
Hey, don't move. Let me just get this one.
Don't move. Let me see if you
You're
got a
on
tear
the
there
stretch.
coming
That's
out.
crazy. That's crazy. So
There's times where those thorns they would go straight into your foot, and you just feel them like hit the bone, and you just
man.
fall straight to the ground, and you're just
I don't
like,
think I could do it with no shoes. How was that?
That sucks.
What was the worst part?
It sucks. Those thorns going all the way into your
It wasn't the
bones.
mosquitoes.
And those mosquitoes were bad. And there was more than that. There was ticks. There was spiders. Like those ants were horrible. One got me. I was asleep and I can feel his little legs. And I tried to get him, and it got me right in the ear, and it just felt like doom, 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 doom.
Jeez,
I'm just like, suck it up, suck it up.
jeez.
Suck it up.
So you gotta have. So would you say the mental toughness or the physical toughness is which one would you say played a role more?
For me, I mean, I'm mentally strong, so that wasn't the issue.
So would you say that?
I'm usually very pain tolerant, but I gotta say those mosquitoes fucked with my freaking everything, my mental, physical, all of it, man.
So pretty much though, your mental toughness is what prevailed.
Yes, you have to do what is it, mind over matter.
Gotcha.
Mind over matter, and just tell yourself like it's not hurting as much. And sometimes you're trying to tell yourself, and then you're like, just stop.
Gotcha. So
No, it's because I think also like mentally wise, like when I was watching the episode, like I thought that your partner was like very hard headed.
God, they didn't even show the half of it.
Yeah, so like I picked up on it, and I was telling Albert, I was like, I'm not trying to use this term, I'm not trying to like dog on him. I was like calling him a soy boy or whatnot, but just like more so, it's just like I don't know, he just confrontational, Debbie Downer all the time, constantly fucking negative, and like it showed like, you know, you're just a stronger willed person just trying to get through it, get to the next objective, finish the next task, you know.
I wish they would have showed how many times I said este pendejo. Like, for real.
Gotcha. That's crazy. So do you feel like again, forgive me, I didn't finish the whole thing. Did you survive the whole time? Both of
I do.
y'all?
I mean, we both make it to 21 days. We're finally able to, once he realized that I'm not against you. We're here to help each other. I think he finally came to terms with it, and he's like, okay, you know what? Let's work as a team. And when that happened, when we started working as a team, everything went so much more smooth.
Gotcha.
And now I'm not going to say that we didn't fight after that, because there was times they didn't show that, and there was times where the cameraman had to put down the cameras because the fights got so bad.
Really? I mean, it's raw, it's real.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you're
all
surviving.
Real. They're not provoking anything. All
Gotcha.
those arguments are real. Now I do want to put this out there, that I keep putting out there, that it shows it shows that one of the times it seems like my trap fails.
Yeah,
It looks like so. That was not my first trap. I made the L in the 7 trap, but he wasn't letting me use his knife to carve it, so I wasn't able to utilize that trap.
Yeah.
So then I did the other trap without a knife, and it looks like they make it look like my trap failed, but it didn't fail. He went with his knife and he cut off my hook. He made his own trap and lost my hook. He's the one who lost it, not me.
Dang.
Yeah, because that was a thing I saw. You were like, let's go. I'm going to try to get fish. And he's just like, no, we got to preserve calories. We got to build the shelter and this and that, you know. And then you're the one providing the food the whole time. Like,
He would give up too easy.
Yeah.
Like right away, he's like, okay, giving up on the fire. I'm like, no, we're going to get this fire going.
Yeah.
And then he's giving up on the fish. He's like, oh, we don't need food. We don't need food yet. I'm like, no, I'm going to start getting food now. Why am I going to wait for my body to be depleted till, all hungry to look for food? I'm going to look for food now.
Yeah.
And all that time that he was against getting food and, we don't need this, I needed my meat. I still ended up with a protein deficiency afterwards.
Yeah.
He just didn't seem very motivated to hunt or fish, which is
and it was noticeable because, I mean, he's so used to buying his food from the store, like he had mentioned.
Yeah, he had mentioned that in the first 10 minutes. I'm used to buying my meat and stuff from the store.
Yeah.
And like the other thing is, he said something. You've seen the episode, but he did say, what was it? He said, food's not an important substance when the body can survive without food or something like that. I was like, that's fucking wild to say that.
I do.
For maybe like a couple of days, but not, you got to start getting.
So there was a time where I caught this, he comes and he's complaining because I'm fishing, and I'm like, and I'm there fishing, and I'm telling myself, this is not only fishing for me, but this is helping me get by, because I love fishing so much that it's my way to cope with being
The
out here.
situation that you're in.
So I'm fishing, and at that moment that I'm fishing, I'm just enjoying myself. All of a sudden, I'm forgetting about the bugs, and I'm just fishing. All of a sudden, I catch this big old piranha. It was the biggest one of them all, and I don't know why it didn't make the cut. It was the biggest one. And he was coming and complaining, "Why are you just gonna fish all day?" And I go, "Dude, you sound like a freaking wife or something. Like back up off me, you know."
Well, that's cool.
And I caught this fish, and I was like, I don't need a stupid knife. And I get the fish, and I ripped off his head, and I opened it, and I gutted it, and I still cooked it, and I gave it for both of us. Another day, we went without, like, that day was just a slow day. We couldn't find nothing. We couldn't catch nothing. That evening, I ended up catching a piranha, and I go up there, and he's laying there, and I go, "Here, you eat it." He's like, "You sure you don't want to have it?" I go, "No." I go, "You go ahead, and you go ahead." And I went without eating that day because it wasn't a big piranha. And, you know, I was like, you know, he had been working on getting some of the wood and stuff. So I was like, you know what, you take this so you can, you know, get.
Gotcha. You spend some calories, so you need to replenish that.
So I gave it to him, but I don't know why a lot of that stuff did not make the cut.
Gotcha. I think they got to make it. I'm sure there was tons of
I mean,
stuff.
it's 21 days of footage.
Yeah.
Like all the cameras, and they literally have to put that into. Normally, it's an hour episode, but this one they actually made it into a 2-hour episode. So they had to put all of that, including, you know, commercials, the introduction, the conclusion, everything.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of footage, a lot of stuff.
You were definitely, like, in that episode, you were definitely the hunter and he was the gatherer, you know, and it's usually, like, I mean, primitively, like, it's always the opposite, you know.
So they say. We don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
or
we're
so
not
know?
primitive anymore. So like, I've always felt like that's like. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there is gonna be more male hunter gatherers, etc. But I don't think they credit enough to in the past, because, you know, nobody was writing these things down. There was no documentation. There was no phones. There was nothing like that. But I just have it I find it hard to believe that only men were hunters and gatherers, and only women were, you know, were keeping the family together and, you know, harvesting crops. Like I find that to be just kind of like a little bit of the patriarchy rolling over into.
Because when you're out there, it's crazy. Because even your mentality changes. The way you think, the way you dream, like, everything changes, and it's almost like a primitive side coming out.
Yeah.
You know, and even like I did my braids, everybody's like, "Oh, you were doing." Everybody's like, "Did you have a comb?" I was like, "No, I didn't have a comb. They didn't give me a comb."
Yeah. You just
I
feel...
made one out of the palm fronds, actually.
Gotcha.
And I was able to comb my hair and braid it. But you feel that primitive side coming out in you. You know, I'm sitting
Which
there,
we all have.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, and you'll see me scooping out the ash, or, you know, doing different things, and you feel it, and it's almost, as much as it sucked, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to circle back to what you had said. I think that's really important. I think that obviously we're going to try to cover all bases of outdoorsmanship, fishing, hunting, etc. But what you just said a while ago, man, that really hits home when you said, I was just fishing to not only provide for us, I was just fishing to have a little mental escape from the current situation. And when I've said this again on several podcasts, I'll say it again, when running a business, doing this out of the other, it's nothing like surviving, but it is like surviving in our real world. And when people are like, well, how do you make time, or why do you make time to fish when you could be doing this? It's like, look, you don't understand that right there will get you through a week of bullshit. You know what I mean? 30, 40, you know,
100% agree.
A half day on the water to get back to that primitiveness of being, you know, a human on the planet, an animal on the planet that's, you know, catching fish, tricking fish. And we do it more for fun, for more of like the, you know, the looking cool aspect of it, right? But at the end of the day, does still have that meaning to me. And it's great to hear you say that it just... You're getting bit by mosquitoes. You have no clothes. You're with a partner who's not really the best helping out wise. So you're like, you know what? Not only am I going to provide for our camp, but I'm going to get that mental break to be able to do this another day.
Yeah.
And get to the next day.
Exactly.
And our last guest also brought that up about what he found to get to the next day. Because our last guest was homeless at one point, and getting to the next day involved fishing.
Yeah,
so
and that's even got me through my divorce, through all of that. So in 2020, I got separated after 21 years.
Okay.
Talk a little bit closer. Sorry.
In 2020, I was separated after 21 years.
In 2020, like right as the pandemic hit, you're like on your own.
Yeah. So then I go, and this is the first, we had decided, okay, we're going to do 50-50 custody. And I remember sitting there at my house, and this is a new house. I have no furniture. I'm just there, just sitting there, and this is the first time I'm without my kids, and I'm thinking to
The first time you
myself,
were just alone with your thoughts.
yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, like this is all real right now. Like, what am I gonna do? And I started going through my phone, and I was looking at my Instagram, and I was like, I'm gonna delete everything and just leave mainly outdoor stuff. And I'm gonna start I'm gonna start doing what I love. I'm gonna start hunting more. I'm gonna start fishing more. And at that moment, I went and I changed my name to Outdoors Mommy 007, and now it's Outdoors Mal 007. But I changed it, and at that, I started hunting and fishing more. Started posting stuff, and all of a sudden, as it was crazy, I started getting like some recognition. You know, people are like, "Hey, can I send you some lures?" And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
and from there, you know, it started growing, and I started doing it more. And it's not even about necessarily the social media of it or anything. For me, it's about getting more people to want to do it.
I think I want to touch on that a lot with this podcast. Is there is so many negatives with social media. I'll be the first to admit that, but I don't think we put a highlight on the positives of social media. And I mean, Roland can attest to this because he was here. He's going to be here for all the episodes. But the last guest as well also said that social media recognition got him through the next day. To get to the next day, to live through the BS, to basically being recently divorced. You didn't have your kids that week. It's 2020. We're locked down. You're like, what am I going to do? You just resorted back to what a primal human would do.
Oh, yes.
Go get back out on the water and, you know, showcase that journey through social media.
And that's what people seem to like is like, okay, I started making my fishing weights, or I started making, you know, I started doing those videos, the beginning to end, you know, hunting, like, okay, making the ammo or reloading the ammo all the way to making
And
meals
forgive
for
me,
my
I'm
kids.
not familiar with any of that. So you would like make like full videos of, you know, reloading your firearms, and then like were you making like what I would consider like a full YouTube video in a sense?
No, so I've never done full videos. I've just done just a little bit of
it was just like
footage
snippets here and there. It wasn't like a production.
In 2020, you know, with my outdoorsman crew, True Outdoorsmen, we started kind of reloading and just kind of getting into it since everybody was off and we were bored.
Yeah, everybody had to find a hobby.
And we got into it for a while, so we started noticing that when we reloaded, that our groupings were like amazing. So these bullets, when we shoot them, it's so accurate that a lot of these animals would just drop on their track.
And who is this that you mentioned? Your crew?
Yeah, there's some of my True Outdoorsmen's crew.
Okay, and who are those people for people who don't know?
My buddy Ryan, my buddy Frank, who's pretty much my brother-in-law now. Angelia is Ryan's girlfriend now, and you know we have a couple of more people on there.
Gotcha. And what does that crew do?
We do everything: hunting, fishing. We process meat together. We do leader parties where we sit there and we make fishing leaders.
That's cool. So
every
you've
time
got
we
a
go
tribe.
fishing, we get together and we do our fish fry or whatever, and we just all everybody has that same passion. We all do.
Nice.
And it's cool to be able to hang out with people that have that same passion. That it's able to, you can just talk about it and not think that you're you know boring somebody because they love it as much as you do.
That's why we started this whole thing, is because we have that same tribe. I'm finding out. It's crazy. I mean, it's obvious now, but it's cool that like we have a tribe like that where it's like we talk fishing. Like all my buddies, all my friends, my wife's friends, my family. They're like, "What? Why are you talking about it? Or why are you doing the podcast? Why'd you stop YouTube? Why'd you do this?" It's like because we're gonna talk about it anyways. I mean, if we're hanging out with our buddies, like when we go hunt and you know we're more anglers, but when we go fish, and I'll go hunt with them, but I'd like to do more of the angling, dude. It's the same. It's just. We're just chopping it up. We're BSing. We're making each other laugh. Talking shit.
We talk a lot of shit to each other too.
But we're there for each other. We're there for each other. We make sure that you're good. I'm good. We're good. We share techniques. We share, you know, lures. Our running joke with our buddy Manny is, you know, every time I'm catching on one side, you'll hear him, "Hey, what was that on?" You know, so it's like, you know, but in reality, if he's catching on something and I'm not, then I'll take that. And if I'm catching and he's not, I'll take, you know, vice versa. So that's cool. So that's a common theme, having a tribe, about a passion. So really you were meant for Naked and Afraid.
So like this coming week, I'm having a leader party.
Okay.
I'm having a leader party. I'm getting everybody together. We're going to make leaders because come the weekend, next weekend, we're going to be fishing Mansfield. We're going to go fish out there and just freaking get on those fish, talk about fish,
And if
just
you
eat
don't,
fish.
and if you don't have a tribe like she does, you can get all your or you can get all your leaders here at Outdoor Alphas. He's got everything you need, man, from top to bottom. And make sure you drop code.
Maybe I'll pick some up so I don't have to make so many.
There you go. Make sure you drop Unpack and Yakin, and they'll give you 15% off on any purchases here through the podcast. So that's cool. You've got a tribe. Y'all have this like camaraderie. Y'all push each other. You're there to help each other.
Talk shit to each other.
Talk shit to each other. Make sure you keep each other honest. Make sure you keep each other humble. Nice. So, going back to again, I'm sorry to take you off that tangent, but I had to get that out there because it needs to be said that fishing, whether it's hunting, whether it's doing something, whatever that is, underwater basket weaving, if it gets you away from the monotony of the day to day and gets you to get to that next day, that's all that matters.
If
whatever
you love
that
it
is.
enough, you'll make time for it.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this, not last week, the week before. I worked over 40 hours that week. I taught I taught some CPR classes after work. I did a podcast after work, and I still made time after one of the days of work, and we went out, took off to the Nueces, and hit him them white bass.
Nice.
On a work night, and I still had to get up the next morning and go. But I mean, I love doing it so much that this Tuesday I get out of work. I already told her I'm not going to stay late at work. I'm gonna, as soon as I'm done with work, I'm out. I'm gonna have my fishing clothes already on. I'm gonna be ready to go.
Nice. Nice.
So
that's cool.
Oh, no.
Okay, cool.
And I'm planning. I mean, I like right now. My plan is to go on by myself on Tuesday. But of course, I tell other people and say, hey, whoever wants to join, by all means.
So you said you're gonna do some white bass in there on Tuesday?
No, on Tuesday I'm just gonna go right there to Calaveras.
Oh, nice.
Go hit some red. Just relax. Go have it. My kids are gonna be. That's the week they're gonna be with their dad. And so I'm gonna right after work. That's what I don't have to go pick them up from school and wait in the line. So I was like, I'm just gonna go hit up the lake, and go get a drink and relax there. And
that is awesome. That's awesome. I mean, you're about it, and that's why you're on this podcast, man. We want to showcase people who really truly have a love for the outdoors, have a love for fishing, and again, it just shows. So we'll get back into the show. So after I saw the first 45 minutes of that first one we were just watching before. How bad were those mosquitoes? Coming from South Texas, they look pretty shitty.
Shit, man! Like freaking needles stabbing you all freaking day.
Jeez.
And so
did you feel like the vaccines weren't going to work, or were you like, they'll work? Were you hoping?
I was hoping, yeah. They're like, oh, we have Zika, we have this. Oh shit!
Golly,
I hope they work. That little itty bitty shot's supposed to help me.
Dang. So the first night I saw y'all were struggling to get a fire, right? But it took a little long to get the fire
Everything in
going.
the jungle is freaking wet.
Damn.
Everything's
Soaked.
wet. Everything,
Gotcha.
no matter what, it's just all wet. Even if it's like.
Talk a little bit closer. Sorry.
Yeah, everything's just so freaking wet, and it's like trying to start a fire when everything's wet.
Damp and
it
not.
sucks.
And
It
then so that
sucks.
first night, I mean, it looked miserable. You said you didn't get much sleep.
Oh, I didn't sleep for shit. It was pouring rain. So I don't know if you saw that, but right when I got that fire on,
It started pouring.
Yeah.
I started pouring freaking rain. That was my luck, right? Like, what the hell? So it puts out the fire, and it was cold. We were both just shivering, and it was like, shit. And then this is our first night there, and this is just fucking hell. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm sitting there, and I was like, this shit sucks. I'm getting eaten up, and I'm just telling myself, like, you did this shit to yourself, just you know. You did this to you.
Nobody told you to go, but
yeah, for real. But it was it was a rough night. I remember laying there in a puddle of water, putting my hand over my face to just block the water, just so I can breathe.
Yeah.
Because it was raining so hard.
It was a different type of rain compared to Texas.
Oh yeah, and even on the show, it doesn't even give it justice to how bad it was. And you can hear all the trees falling around you, and noises of these animals coming close and close, and there's jaguars around there, and anacondas and Cayman alligators. I mean, there's all of that around you, and you just hear everything. Like, I was like, man, they better not try to come find shelter with us.
Right. I read somewhere that that's actually where like that first primal anxiety that we had as you know, animals on the planet came from, you know, having people stay up at night to make sure the tribe didn't get killed by lions or hyenas and you know, all those type of things in the night. So that's crazy to just, we've done the overnight trips as well, and it's the same thing. You start hearing coyotes howling and you start hearing rustling in the leaves and you're like, what is that, a mountain lion? Is that a you know, a pack of coyotes?
You can hear them killing stuff at night. You can hear them around you. There was this one monkey that just kept coming around us.
A howler monkey or what?
There was two different types of monkeys, but the howler monkeys were
the aggressive ones or the...
Were out there. I mean, they would just, I guess, throw poop at you.
Did you get shit on accident?
I didn't. My partner did.
He was probably messing with them.
So that first night was cold and miserable. And I remember my partner and I looking at each other, and he looks at me and he's like, body heat?
I was gonna ask, did y'all snuggle up?
Right. So then I was like, and I'm like, and I was like, man, but I am really cold. Yeah. You know? So I'm like, okay. So then I kind of lay there and he kind of scooches behind me, and then I get up and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna spoon you.
We were joking about that before you showed up.
We were literally joking. I was like, well, we'll gauge her comfortability and, you know, sense of humor, etc. I was like, man, I wonder if that first night he just kind of like tapped her on the back. Hey, you want to cuddle?
So and he was like, and so then I wouldn't be, so I didn't actually spoon him. I just kind of went into like I was kind of behind him, and we're like, both our bodies are there shivering. We're trying to cover up the water, and I think the same thing was probably going through both of our heads, just like, this sucks. But after that, he's like, what did he say the next day? He's like, I only take baths. Like, it was like rare that he took baths and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, we're not gonna be close to each other anymore.
That's funny.
So that was the only time. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I never spooned him again, and he didn't spoon me. But it was when it was over there, it was really cold. Mm-hmm. It was really cold at night. Well, not real cold, but like 60 degrees, and it's raining. It's
butt naked.
You know, and
it's
butt
cold.
Naked. It's cold. So every morning I would get up and I would go down to the river, and I would get in the river and I would take a bath.
Yeah.
Just rinse off.
And even if I was cold, I would tell myself, and it was part of my routine to keep up my morale.
Yeah.
Like,
make you feel human.
I would make myself get up. It was cold. I was shivering. Everything just felt miserable. And I would get up, and the mosquitoes were eating me, and I would force myself to go down there and take a bath. And then I would come back up freezing, and I would sit there by the fire, and then I would braid my hair. I'll comb my hair, braid my hair, clean my teeth. And after that, I always felt like, all right, I'm ready for the day.
Nice.
I'm ready to tackle this. Yeah. That was what helped me, get through that.
So you were ready for it. I mean, it sounds like you're doing everything you see all the people say and all the people who've gone through experiences like that do, where you find a daily routine. Get that done first and foremost to get to the next day and the next day.
And that was what got me ready. If I didn't do that, that gave me that energy to, okay, this is, I washed off all of yesterday. Now,
I think there's some, was the water cold or was it warm?
It was cold.
Okay, cool. It's like, there's some science behind me now, cold plunges are the new thing. Like, that's just the new, everybody and their mom's cold plunging because of, all the guys that are doing it. And so you were basically doing that.
Yeah, so I would go get in there and then I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
How long would you stay in?
I would use some of, because there's no rocks or anything in the jungle, but I would use the dirt and I would kind of use it to kind of scrub myself, and I would take
natural exfoliator.
And I would take a full bath. Sometimes those little piranhas would be nipping at my legs or whatever, but they would, unless you have like open wounds or whatever, they wouldn't really bite you.
What about alligators? Like, you're in an area where there's caiman alligators and whatnot. Like, did you ever think in the back of your head, like, fuck, like, there might be one here, or... I'm terrified of alligators.
You see them, but I don't know if you've seen some of my videos. I'm around gators often.
He's very scared of gators. He's got like a gator phobia.
Like, it didn't cross my mind that they would bother me. Yeah. Usually
they respect their own. I always try to tell them.
Except for one in Rockport for me. There was one in Rockport that did test.
She probably had some eggs somewhere.
She probably did have eggs, and she even when I had thrown out my I had just gotten that Cajun Thunder from, I had ordered it on Amazon. Mm-hmm. She just came and just ate it up. I was like, really? And then I hooked onto a gar, and then you just see like my gar is going, and then you just see the gators turning her whole body to go towards
to
it.
go
I'm
get
assuming
it.
it was a girl. And then it just came to the front of the boat, right? And it's just like trying to intimidate. And me, I'm just so dumb. I go with a fillet knife, like if I'm gonna do something to it, like let her come over here.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I always try to tell them that unless it's like a bed slide where clearly there's a nest, they generally keep there's a mutual respect unless it is like a Florida nuisance. It's getting hand-fed hot dogs, which is why they tell you don't feed alligators. So, but that's cool. That's cool.
That wasn't worrisome. I went on a pretty good anaconda hunt.
Closer.
I went on a hunt to try to find this anaconda.
Where, out there?
Out there, because I had seen one going in.
Yeah. How big was it?
It was the anaconda. I have no idea. It was big,
Like
but
20
not like
feet, 50
no, probably about maybe 10
feet
or so. But I had seen one going in, and after that, I never saw another anaconda. And one of my missions was
To find
one was the piranha. Okay, that got off my bucket list. But the other one, when I was in there, was I wanted to eat an anaconda.
Anaconda. Was there
I wanted to eat an anaconda. I went for it. I'm talking about I was in the swampy water with just my neck up, like just hunting one down, trying to find one.
Really?
She was like J-Lo in Anaconda, man.
I was trying to find one.
my
I don't know why
God.
that
Was
one
there
didn't
any
make the
restrictions
cut.
that you had to follow? Like I know sometimes on that, like there's another show like I was saying Alone, where like they can't hunt certain animals because they're in not in season,
yes,
etc.
Yes, because I know one of the times I thought it was a chicken, and I was running after it, and I just hear them stop! It's an endangered species or something, and I was like, oh shit.
You're like,
You know,
that like good sportsman in you is like, fuck.
Yeah, I was like chicken,
But-
running after it.
That's funny.
And then so if they see you do anything too dangerous that will put your life at risk, they'll have to stop you. Because there was one time where I was gonna, cross this raging river because in my mind I was gonna make it, and they're like. The producer, it was just a producer, and he's like, because everybody else they got really sick. The crew got real sick. And it
Ooh,
was just
with what?
him, and he had like 104 fever, and he had to be following me. And I was about to cross this river, and he's like, I can't let you do that. And I was looking at him, I'm like, why? And he goes, do you have a fucking death wish? I was like, I do shit like this at home all the time.
Dang. So that's crazy. So like they got sick of something.
Oh,
were you afraid?
They had to keep them away from us, but apparently, like the whole medic crew, what
was it? Were they able to tell you?
We have no idea. We were just like,
Oh
if y'all get
my
medically
God.
tapped out, do we automatically win?
That's
They were
insane.
dying.
So that's
They were
crazy.
sick
We'll
as
get into
hell.
some of that, I guess, the behind the scenes. So just rolling out what was actually shown and all that. What would you say your favorite experience from it was?
My absolute favorite experience.
Like, what was the thing where you were just like, that was awesome?
Waking up and seeing all the monkeys around me.
Yeah.
All the monkeys, just like literally like
Staring
where the
at you?
ceiling at. Where the
Yeah.
ceiling's at, just there. One of them, she had her baby, and I'm like, just let me hold it, And that was cool.
Do you feel like they were just watching y'all sleep?
Yeah.
Or do you think they were sleeping with you?
No, they were just all right there. They were watching. So we didn't get accepted into the jungle right away. So you would see nothing. It took maybe like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And finally they accepted us to where, okay, now the animals.
That's what I was saying. I mean, at the end of the day, again, everybody has their own personal beliefs, but technically we're similar of genetics, so on and so
so
forth.
they eventually accepted
So they
us.
eventually were like, okay, they're like
I'm
us.
talking about where before you wouldn't even see the anteaters, nothing. All of a sudden you wake up and like a couple of feet, and the anteaters kill people. Like they have those big old claws and stuff. So I wake up and I just see like the big old claws, and I'm just like trying to stay still. But one of the times, one startled me, and when I went,
Talk a little bit closer.
one of them startled me, and when I went. He like jumped up and saw me, and he got scared too. So it was like he just like he took off.
This was like in the night or in the day?
the day.
Oh my goodness. Like this when you were taking a nap or?
I was waking up that morning, and as soon as I woke up, a couple of feet away, there's there's two anteaters actually, and when I kind of made a noise, he like looked at me and jumped up like and just took off.
Jeez, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. That's how that. I mean, y'all were getting that close with that type of stuff.
Yeah, and
So
there
that
was some other animals that when I was walking, He was like, I hear them like, I hear growling. I'm like, what the hell? And I look and I see them and they're growling at each other. And I was like, oh shit.
What were they?
You know, I don't even remember what they were, what they're called. And then I'm just like, oh shit. And then they both look at me. I was like, shit, I forgot. I took off running.
That's crazy.
So I'm not trying to get eaten.
So you say your favorite experience was waking up and seeing the monkeys basically being accepted as like, they're not going to mess with us.
And then hearing them in the mornings, they'd have their meetings. The jungle communicates. Like, it's crazy how there's this one bird, like every morning comes squawking through the jungle, wakes everybody up. Then the howler monkeys have their meeting, and it was like 3 groups in different areas. You can hear like the main one, and then you hear all the other ones, and then you can hear them like, I guess, tell something to the other groups, and then you hear the other groups. And
that's awesome.
I was like, dude, they're plotting against us. They're going to come kill us.
What was
they're on their way to come get us now.
So you know, you're versed, you're outdoorsy, you've been in, you're about it, you know, you live that life. How was your partner with all that stuff? Was he freaking out? Was he scared of the monkeys? Or did he kind of hold his own with the animal side of things?
Animal side, he held his own. He was fine. He wasn't ever like real scared, except for one time when he was walking and I pulled a palm frond when we were first walking in the jungle. I think that's why he initially hated me. But it's because I pulled a palm frond and like a rabbit or something jumps out and he like jumps. He like freaked out. And I'm not one of those. If something's funny, I can't hold it in my lap.
Yeah.
So I start I start laughing my fucking ass off. I'm like I barely met him, and I'm like holding my stomach, like practically falling to the floor, laughing. It was hilarious. And you can see him like he looks at me. I'm like, oh shit.
Damn. So
yeah, that was the initial. He's like, I don't like her.
That's funny. So he got scared of the little bunny.
I'm gonna say that one thing I can say is, as much as we bumped heads, we both put in our part at the end of the day. We did.
I think
we
to
both
survive,
did.
you have to.
And even towards the end, like we were just both like, okay, we're making these big old piles of wood. Okay, you're going to go get food right now. I'm going to go do this. And then we'd always rock, paper, scissors. It was always rock, paper, scissors on who got the next pot of water. Because you had to go down there, you're getting eaten up and this and that. So it's like, okay, rock, paper, who's going to get the next pot of water? So that's how we did the pot, who got the water.
That's funny. That's cool. So I guess also the like tapping out, is that like, so what happens? If one partner taps out, the team loses?
No. Okay. The other one can stay. The other one will stay.
Try to survive
But
alone.
we told each other that, once we decided we were going to be cool with each other.
How many days in did that take?
I don't know, probably like 10. I think after the second week, we finally decided, like, shit, we just have to freaking suck it up and be friends, right? So, and work together. So once we decided to do that, first of all, everything went a lot smoother. But then we were able to say, okay, you're gonna go get the wood, or you're gonna go do this, and everything just came together a lot better.
Like a routine, basically. You were able to establish
every day was work. Every day was work, going and getting everything. And at the end. It got to days where we were able to just chill for a little bit. We were able to just chill and kind of relax.
You had reserves, you had food.
And we would sit there and we're like, okay, we got fire right now. We have our shelter. Everything's good. We both worked on the shelter today. Okay, we have food right now. We're good.
We're chilling.
We're good. But I'm going to tell you this, not the very last night, I can tell you that I did feel absolute true starving pains. Like that shit hurt.
Your body was eating itself.
I was, like I never felt that in my life till that last night right before I was.
It just feels like really bad stomach pain.
Oh my God, I'm starving. I really am starving. If you get all the food that we ate in 21 days, all the food and you combine it and you put it on a plate, it's probably one plate of food for 21 days.
You feel like that's how much you, that's all you were able to get.
That's probably all it was. So it wasn't a whole lot of food.
And then, so after that experience, I'm guessing you never say you're starving. You don't use that term at all anymore.
Shit, I'm starving right now. What you talking about?
So I guess what happens at the end? Because again, I have not finished it all. Like, you've survived the 21 days. Does that automatically mean you win? Or
so that's technically you beat the challenge is what it is.
And what's the prize for that?
The last interview when you see me there and I think I say something about like I just had to suck it up and put on my big girl panties and suck it up. That interview, I'm not gonna lie, I could barely stand. Like I was there, everything was like I was seeing like little black spots and shit. Like that extraction sucked. It was a 6-hour extraction, super humid. We had to swim. We swam through the rivers. They didn't show that, but we were swimming like through the rivers to get to where we were at.
Before you got to the boat, right?
And I remember I would have to like stop and put my face on the stick and just like keep myself from passing out and tell myself, like, snap out of it. You're not getting medically tapped out on the last day. There's no way this is going to happen. Like, snap out of it. Like, oh my gosh. I had to convince my body. And I would like my legs would kept like just like giving in. And I'm like, get up. Like, oh my gosh. It's crazy.
So you,
and you're like thorns all over. We went through thick brush, so these are thorns stabbed, like embedded all over your body, and then you're eating up, you're sweating, you haven't eaten, you're depleted, completely depleted. But on that day, you're telling yourself, like, I'm almost here. I'm almost done. Just keep going. Just keep going. And like I said, I would see little black spots. I started feeling like I was going to pass out. And it was just like, okay, I need to stop. I would take some deep breaths. And I would put my head on the stick. And I'd just tell myself, like get yourself together, damn it.
Dang, that's crazy. So after obviously doing all that, I'm sure you feel like you could do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that people consider hard, that's cakewalk. You're like
pretty much.
You weren't on the verge of death crossing a river.
You know, I still second guess myself a lot. I don't think that I'm better than anybody. I don't. When it comes to fishing and outdoors, I don't consider myself an expert. I feel like there's a lot I need to learn that I want to learn.
I think always being a student is good.
And I like to share the knowledge that I do have with others. But I don't ever tell anybody like, hey, I'm a badass fisherman.
Yeah.
Or I'm a badass hunter. No, I have a lot I need to learn, and I want to learn more. I know I can get out there and I can get fish. I know I can get out there and I can hunt animals and skin them and everything else. But I'm always open-minded to learning more.
Adding tools in your arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. So what was the price for making it through?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Hey, you did it.
You didn't get financially compensated?
You don't really get financially. You pretty much get paid for your time. Probably about the same amount I get paid at my work. Probably, but yeah.
Well, at least you got paid for being out there. But
so now,
it's not like you got some prize or.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I didn't get paid. I'm still poor.
That's all of us.
I'm still poor.
Poor monetarily, but rich in life. That's all that matters. That's the most important thing.
You know, and I mean, there's a lot of times where, man, there's something going on, and I want to go fishing. I want to do this, and it's like, man, I got to put in extra hours. I need hours. That's, because that's what I do.
We're stuck in this rat race.
If I don't work, my bills don't get paid.
That's what I wanted to bring that up too. So you said every day was work. Would you pick that work over work here? Or which work is worse? Because I've always said, like, man, I catch myself saying, man, I wish I didn't have to work to pay a mortgage. I wish I could just work to survive. Which one's harder?
So I love my job. But if I was be able to just get my kids and live out there and just live like that, and maybe have some more stuff.
Yeah, have more stuff, but work to survive.
But I would rather be out there.
Yeah, awesome.
I would rather be out there.
I love the
outdoors. I love being. I can stay out. I go out there hunting sometimes, and not even in a blind. And I'll have like a water, and it'll freeze on me while I'm out there, like I'm in the elements. And I mean, people are like, how do you do that? It's horrible, Or like last weekend when I was in the water at Calaveras, like it was like 40 something degrees and raining, and I'm still and my waders, they don't have any insulation or anything. They actually have a hole in them, so I'm getting water in there. And everybody's like, why do you do that? I go, it's because I love it. Like I honestly love it. And yes, it's uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I get cold, but I love it so much that I'm willing to deal with that.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of being an outdoorswoman, the whole nine. So that's cool, man. I was hoping you'd say that answer. I'm glad you did. You'd prefer to work and survive on your own than work to pay bills.
Hell yeah.
I think that's what we're meant to be anyways. I think 100%. We were supposed to meant to do that, not meant to work to pay some rich asshole more that they don't need. So that's cool. I guess now that we've kind of got through that, I did want to say or ask about some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, what was that like having the people there following you? Did you feel like some days you wanted to ask for help? I know you couldn't, but is it some days you were just like, was there comfort in knowing that there was people there if something really, really happened?
So there was some comfort in that, just for the fact, okay, if I get, my leg chopped off or something, they'll be there, but they weren't going to be there in time. For a lot of times, especially at night, you would hear I guess it was the jaguars eating an animal or something. I mean, they can't, and it never gave me fear. I never had that fear. But even with the big storms, the trees falling and stuff, like if a tree falls on us, like they're not going to be there for a little while. It's going to take a little while to get there, but they're not too far. There's a
And
med
how do
team
they
that's
know?
Not too far.
How do they know in case of a medical emergency? Was there because there was somebody there filming, or
No, because there's not somebody there all the time.
Okay.
They're only there from the morning till like the evening. But the whole time, the whole 21 days, right there is a walkie-talkie.
Gotcha.
And there's a little bag with a walkie-talkie, and you can always tap out. So no matter how hard it gets, you know that there's a walkie-talkie there, and you can say, I tap out. And right then and there, it all ends. It all ends. But in my mind, I told myself, no, that walkie-talkie is not there. The only way they're taking you out of here is in a freaking gurney. If you do something stupid or get eaten or something, or if I get a phone call, because my little boy does have heart disease.
Okay,
and
so does my daughter.
And he's already had 6 heart surgeries.
Oh my goodness.
And in 2021, he had collapsed at the track.
Okay.
And they had to take him to the hospital. He had to have a emergency pacemaker put in his stomach because they couldn't put it on the top because of all the open heart surgeries, the scar tissue, everything. And he has to have surgeries the rest of his life. So that was one of my biggest fears going out there, is
something happening to your son,
to my son, or either one of my kids. I have the 2, and either one of them. But with him, with his medical issues, that was in the back of my mind all the time. Like, man, I wonder how. And he's so attached to me because of all the surgeries. You know, I've always been right there with him. That him being so attached, and all of a sudden he's away from me. And with his medical conditions, that was probably my biggest fear out there. Was
motivator as well, or just
my
fear?
Motivator, because I wanted to, prove to my kids that, mommy can get through it.
Mom can do this. You can do anything. We just connected on a whole other level, because my daughter also has CHD. She was born with a mitral valve regurgitation.
Oh yeah.
We were airlifted to, my wife and my daughter were airlifted to Austin. They lived in Austin for almost 5 weeks. She had open heart surgery, day 9 of life.
Wow.
And she's crazy now. You'll never be able to tell. She's got the scar, the whole 9, and she's a fighter. She's crazy.
They're so resilient.
Yeah.
They are, and that was my strength as well. Is my son's resilience. Every time he's had open heart surgeries. He bounces back.
You said 6?
He's had 6 surgeries
That's already.
Insane.
Here in town, or
in town?
Who's if you don't mind me asking, who's the surgeon?
The surgeon. So the doctor. He's already had a couple of different surgeons. So he had Dr. Calhoun, who's very known. Dr. What was it? Ahern, which is no longer here. Okay. And then the last one, what was his name? I don't remember he had some weird long name.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's had so now he has that pacemaker in his stomach.
What was his, if you don't mind me asking as well, again, if you're not comfortable talking about it, it's fine. What was his issue? What was his disease? He was
born with tetralogy of Fallot with the absent pulmonary valve. And then when he had his first open heart surgery at 5 months old, I guess they damaged one of the SA nodes, which caused him to have problems to the electrical part of his heart.
Gotcha.
So in addition to tetralogy of Fallot is 5 different heart defects. It's having 5 heart defects.
Gotcha.
And in addition to that, now he had an electrical problem to his heart. And that's what caused him to have the heart failure in 2021.
I gotcha. Yeah, so that's inevitably what happened with my daughter. I guess when the body is in the womb, the left side of the heart isn't used as much as the right side, because the mom is pumping the blood through the, the umbilical cord. And when she was on her own, her left valve, the mitral valve, was basically, it was deformed.
So that's what was my son. His valve wasn't even there.
It wouldn't close. So she was basically sending oxygen-rich blood back into the
so they get
lungs.
Blue, right?
Yeah. Well, she ended up having heart failure. She ended up coding for 15 minutes, and again, she is our little miracle baby. Like,
that's
she,
awesome.
he
that's
literally.
amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
with me.
yeah.
That's
No,
awesome.
she looks
story.
like nothing ever happened, but technically, I mean, she went through the
So
ringer.
does she have to have
So surgeries are never off the table. Obviously, that's something that my wife and I, we live through that trauma every day. That's an anxiety that's always there.
Yeah,
if you see me checking my phone, it's just to make sure that my wife and daughter are okay.
And that's me with my son.
Yeah,
my son
and it's
too.
like, and it's just we're gonna relate on that, and it's crazy because it's a trauma that nobody understands.
Oh yeah.
I literally, if I don't hear from them for 3 or 4 hours, I think the worst, because the worst has happened.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's and she's not on any, like, there's no like foreseen surgeries, but surgeries is never off the table until the heart's fully grown, which is around 10, and She is on enalapril twice a day. So in the morning and the evening. So she's on Q12 every 12 hours. So that obviously helps dilate the blood vessels, just helps her heart work a little less. So if your son has that many heart defects, I'm sure he's on a string of medication.
Yeah, and he has his scars right here. He has scars. He has a scar going from this side to this side. He's got all.
They've entered all the ways that they could.
And so I try to teach him to not be self-conscious about them. And I myself, you know, I've had scars, and I don't know if you can. I don't. People haven't said nothing, so I guess you couldn't really see my scars. But I myself, you know, I had kidney cancer, and so I had a mass, I guess, the size of a grapefruit in my stomach. So I've had a couple of.
So you've been through the ringer as well.
Yeah, I noticed that on the show that there were some scars there, but I didn't know if they were pregnancy scars.
Yeah, no, they're actually. I've had multiple surgeries on my stomach. I had, like I said, a part of my kidney removed from kidney cancer.
Yes.
I had a mass the size of a grapefruit in my stomach that they had to take out, and then of course, and then I had my gallbladder removed. So I have a couple, and then I have my C-section scar as well. Yeah. So you know, I do have some scars, and I was like, you know, at first it was, you know, I was a little self-conscious about that. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to teach my son to not be self-conscious about his scars.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So what better way than to go on national TV, butt-ass naked, right? And just show your scars.
That's awesome. No. Yeah, I mean, not my wife, of course, but I have a plan to, whenever, you know, she gets a little older, I'm going to get a matching tattoo of her scar.
Oh, that's
so she never feels left out, so she doesn't feel different. And I mean, it's just part of the journey. It's part of being a parent with CHD. I mean, that's crazy. Like, we're connecting on a whole nother level at this point.
Yeah, and
because
you know, we know that the struggle of sitting there in the hospital praying on your knees at your wits end.
Anything to make it work.
Just let my baby live.
Like they didn't deserve it. They were just born.
And my son had another surgery, open heart, at 4 years old. That one was one of the hardest ones because it's hard. How do you tell your 4-year-old they're about to, you know, open your chest up?
I mean, hopefully we don't have that
hard,
battle,
you know?
But I'll get there
and
if so.
Same thing when he had his, you know, when he had the heart failure, and I took him to the hospital. I was at work, and I got a call that they took him to the track, that he collapsed. So I like raced over there, and I go into the hospital with him, and right away they start calling code this, whatever. They got somebody with the backpack with the AED next to him, and they're like he's having, and he started like flatlining, like I could see that and it's crazy because he's laying down, and he gets up, and he's trying to play his game, and all of a sudden you see the computer go straight, start flatlining, and he'll go back down, and he'll get up, and the doctors were freaked out. They're like, man, that just shows his willpower.
How strong he is. It's crazy.
Like he would fall back, and then he'll get back up trying to play, and then it would give out. Like it was just, they were like, what are we gonna do? And the first doctor came in, and he's like, I can't do your son's surgery. I can't do it. He goes, I'm not comfortable. He's like, and we're trying to find somebody, but it's gonna be a very difficult surgery because normally they put those leads inside the heart. For the pacemaker. He goes, we can't do that with him. He has so much scar tissue, and we're trying to figure out what to do.
Gotcha.
So they ended up actually sewing him to the outside of his heart, which I think has caused other problems that he's having now. But they sutured him outside the heart. So now, you know, he can't have any type of impact to his chest, can be, you know,
fatal
for him. So that's one thing, like I'm always like, son, you know,
and you got a little boy who's, you know, got jeans like his mom, ready to get on Naked and Afraid and cross a river. No, I mean, we're gonna have to cross those hurdles when we get there, my wife and I mean, we so far our appointments are every 3 months. Every echo has been great. She turned 1 last Wednesday. So she's crazy.
Well, now you know what? You should look at my son. He's 8 years old now, and you should see how amazing he is.
My wife is super big into getting with CHD moms. One of her friends that she used to work with has a baby with heart disease as well, who's had 2 open heart surgeries. So my wife, I think, is going to go places with making sure that CHD is a well-known and talked about thing in her life.
Creating a tribe.
Yeah, she's going to create a tribe. She really is. So
awesome.
I'm going to have to put her in contact with you because she had a heart party for February 14th.
Awesome.
She invited a bunch of heart moms over. So I'll get her all your information.
And last year I dyed my kid's hair red.
Gotcha.
Both of them had it for
heart disease awareness month, which is February. So yeah, no, I mean it's again, our life has taken a whole different turn, and it's for the better because it's focused.
Yeah.
I'm more focused, I'm more driven, and it's like I don't take for granted those days I can get on the water. Heck, I mean, as funny, I was literally fishing before this podcast. Came here, took a shower, and the whole nine. I mean, it's something I love to do. It's like I want to get it in. He was like, dude, gotta be an asshole. We gotta run the pod. I was like, all right, I'll fish for 3 hours. I'll come back. So,
a couple of weeks ago, my son just recently started. I put him on lures. He's always bait fished, but he's
I gotta take
never
your son
lure
fishing.
fished.
Yeah.
And
That's my question.
he started lure fishing, and man, you have his excitement. I don't know if you saw that video I posted. You got to go see it.
Yeah.
His excitement in his face catching those, and then you see where he loses one, and he felt the pain. He felt the real pain. He's like sitting there, he's crying. I really wanted him.
That's awesome. Yeah, we got to put something together where we'll get together and fish, with your son or do something because that's just awesome.
That's
I didn't even think we could tie in CHD with fishing, but we'll make it happen.
Fishing, CHD, naked
The whole
and
nine.
afraid,
Hey,
outdoors, just
everybody's
all of
there.
it,
So
you
yeah,
know? It's all
because
here.
I don't think people realize 1 in 100 children are born with CHD, and that San Antonio, we're fertile as hell here. That's a lot of babies with CHD. So that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I'm glad we got to touch base on that.
I am too. I really am.
So now, what was the worst part? I asked you the best part. What was the worst experience you had there? You talked the howler monkey, seeing the beauty of just being accepted by the
Other
jungle.
than the mosquitoes, because I think I've already kind of put on the mosquitoes. The nights, I hate it. The nights, 12-hour nights. You have nothing to write with. You can't. Of course, you don't have your phone. You can't really wander off.
You don't have your comforts.
Light. And I mean, I wish they would have just given me at least a pen and a little notebook. Let me write down my thoughts. But your mind, because there's such long nights, you're not sleeping enough. Your mind gets on a whole different level. I'm talking about. I started freaking designing a reel in my head and everything.
That's all. You know what's crazy,
amazing.
dude? This is gonna be.
And I'm like, I designed like a rod and reel. I designed a rod and reel in my head out there, and I was thinking about what are all the things I hate when I fish, with my rod and my reel. And I started thinking about it, and I started and then not only that, but just when I would dream. It wasn't the dreams that you have when you're here. It was weird. It was so weird. It was I would see my grandfather. Oh. And my grandfather who passed. And he was always he was the one he was a hardcore hunter,
I didn't
fisher,
get to ask that question.
everything.
I'm glad you brought it up. Who got you into this? With your
my grandparents.
Okay.
And I was mainly raised by my grandparents. I had my mom and my dad there here, but I was mainly with my grandparents. And I would hear him telling me don't give up, don't do this. It was weird. And then I dreamt about one of my cousins who passed away when we were younger. And I started getting almost flashbacks to when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I was a rough ass kid. I used to be in the San Antonio River and a water moccasin would come and I would just grab it by the tail and fling it off. And, I was always out there catching crawfish. I was 9-10 years old, and I was always in the rivers, in the woods, the creeks, everything. That's awesome.
So it's just embedded in you.
And I started, it's almost like that part of me was coming out again, which was a really cool experience. But you were asking what I hated the most, and the nights were long. They felt like they were just never freaking ending. Oh my God, I hated them.
So just getting through the night.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the night seemed to be they were equal with today. So you're
because you can't get out, and you can't get out and explore.
Equator,
really?
I'd assume,
yeah. So you're south of the equator.
Okay.
So your nights are 50, 60 degrees.
Okay.
And then your days are probably 85 with the hot and humidity. And then you have these random heavy thunderstorms that'll come.
It's just a whole different climate than where we are.
It is. They have really cool birds out there, the toucans, the toucan Sam or whatever.
You don't see them on Fruit Loops. You see them in real life.
You get to see a really cool, I don't know, to see an anaconda or, that was
all
really
the shit
cool.
you see on
just
Discovery
so you know,
Channel.
that lizard you saw on there, that iguana.
The monitor? Was it iguana or monitor?
It's called something else. I forgot the name. It starts with a Y. Anyways, if I would have caught it, it probably would have bit my fingers off. But I did go running after it. And my partner too, I don't know if you saw, but he was being real cocky.
Yeah, I saw.
He's it's fast. But then when he sees it, he just stands there and he's like, Malorie. I'm like, really? Why didn't you run after it, man? Why was it fast?
Yeah, he was a real Debbie Downer whenever you would try to construct ways to capture animals for y'all to eat and stuff. And like I said, it's just, I don't know how you did it, you know, trying to keep an optimistic outlook on life.
I signed a contract that we're not allowed to hit.
Oh,
So that's why I had to walk away, and I had
Hey,
to
she is a Latina from San Antonio,
I
guys.
had to walk away sometimes, and I just had to be like,
at least you've got the composure to walk away. There you go.
I
So
was just like, don't say nothing because you already know you can get you can start feeling that bubbling in you. You know what
That's
happens
awesome.
when a Latina's blood starts boiling.
Yeah, the
And
self-control.
I was like, I told myself, you're not allowed to hit. Like, that's it.
yeah.
That is funny. That's something I want to take notes of this too, Roland. Just off subject of all the common things that happen between guests, and our last guest said that too. That he's like, my favorite thing about my brain is that I can imagine literally anything. And you kind of said something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You're there with just you and your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Your brain can literally materialize anything you ever want.
Man, you don't
Whether
even
it's
know.
building the
Yeah.
reel, seeing your grandpa.
Exactly.
Our last guest said the same thing. And that, again, I think I want to have people on the pod that are interesting. You're obviously very interesting. And then, of course, I want to, a year from now, see all the common denominators that interesting people have. And that's just something I remember.
That would be cool to
Yeah,
do.
to see that I
just,
remember him saying specifically, the mind can make anything. And then you
I'm
talk
telling
about
you,
how your mind...
My mind was on a whole different level.
We were talking about a dopamine, the dopamine, like where your brain within 3 days, if without using your phone, like without having
dopamine depletion.
Yeah, like a dopamine depletion, like your brain will like literally chemically be different in 3 days without a phone, because you're not getting that dopamine hit of the likes, the follows, I can look up anything at any time at any given moment, so your brain's wired completely
Hey, that's
different.
our childhood.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about it. That was our childhood.
Our childhood was
which
straight-
doesn't exist anymore.
Does not, but again, and that's what this is about. I want to get kids out. I'm definitely going to
Yes.
take your son out to fish, because
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's we're going to set that up. And obviously when my daughter's old enough, we'll get her
Yeah.
on the water. But what were you going to say?
So, my mind level being out there, and there was a time, like I said, where I was so hungry. Well, check this out. Like, I could think about different foods. And like my mind would make all these different meals out of it. It was so crazy. And then
Because
for a
that's
while-
all you're thinking is food.
Yeah.
You're hyper focused
And
on
for
food.
a
Like,
while-
I just had a mango.
I don't know why avocados and mangoes was all I could think about. Like, and then there was one point
Well,
where I
you know
looked in the
why?
tree and I could swear I saw some mangoes hanging there, and they
You know
weren't
what?
there.
You know what's crazy? I bet it's because your body was telling you what you needed. You needed a healthy fat. You
Yeah.
needed a natural sugar. And that's just me being
Yeah.
me. But that's probably what your brain was like, to survive. We need this.
So check this out. I get back and I go take a trip to the coast, right? And we're driving, and all of us, and I kept saying like, man, I really want some avocado and mangoes. And we're driving to the coast. And this is back over here in the States, and you just see this truck parked in the middle of nowhere, and the sign just says avocados and mangoes. Hell yeah!
He said, I'm gonna buy you out right now. So one question I did have: how was acclimating back to like regular food? What was that like?
How was your bowel movement like during all that?
Okay, so
2 questions.
Yeah.
okay.
Acclimation and bowel movement.
Okay, so bowel movement, you don't go very often because you don't have very much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you don't have very much privacy. I'm like, can I get like 6 feet? I
Yeah.
gotta go potty, with the camera crew or whatever. But you don't go very often. For some reason, my partner just wanted to give me full details every time he went. I don't know
He
why.
was bored.
Watery stool. like,
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I don't care about your poop. Like, stop. And he just always farted a lot. Like, we'd be like right there, just farting all the time. And like, dude, go behind that tree or something. Like, come on.
Damn. So farts stink in the jungle. Good to
He
know.
was just forever farting. And then you were saying about the what was your question?
Oh, like how was it acclimating back to like regular food?
Okay,
Because that's a
so-
process.
So
Yeah.
so when we first got out, they gave us like this chicken and like this grain stuff. I could barely eat. I barely ate. He ate like 2 plates and ate them. That my partner. He
bet
he ate them like nothing. I couldn't. Like, it made me nauseous.
Yeah.
But so let me tell you this: when the paramedic or the paramedic guys would get there, right? I like to fuck with them, and I'd be like, Like, hey, he'd have his bag, and I'd be like, you got some, tell me you got some empanadas in there, man. And the producer would be like, no, you can't talk to them. And I was like, oh, whatever. So one of them, I kept saying empanadas. And then another one, he would come and I'd be like, tell me you got some tacos in there, please. And then another one, I would be like, un cerveza. Tomas un cervecita, por favor. Just a beer, man. And then another one was, what was it? Tartas, which is something they had over there in South America. Well, anyways, when I was all done, that night, right? I got to bathe, take a nice bath, bathe all that nastiness off, right? I come out and they're like, hey, you go upstairs. And I go upstairs and it was like everybody just cheering me on. And on the table, they had the beer, the tarta, the tacos, and the empanadas.
That's good.
They had all of it there.
That's awesome.
And I sure did take a munch. I sure did, a little bit of everything. And my beer just, it tasted so good with that taco.
Nice. But that's cool. You get the reality of like enjoying our creature comforts of being, living in 2023, but also you're down for the raw primal getting back to it.
So when my son, I took him recently to go fishing. Mm-hmm. I ended up, I got one, I don't know if you saw the video, but I get the fish and
no, I have not.
I get his fish and I cut off the head right there and we have nothing. We had made a fire and I just scaled it right there and I put it on a stick for him and I had him cook it on the fire when we were out there. This was 2 weeks ago. During spring break, and I had to just cook it there on the fire, and then we sat there and we ate it off a rock. And you could see him where he's like, "This is so good." He like really enjoyed
really
it.
But
I did have a can of lemon pepper in my backpack. So
nice. That's awesome. Did you have any questions to add?
No, I mean that was pretty much it. I was just like curious because like you're in such an organic area, like when you're eating. The reason why I asked the bowel movement and stuff like that is because I guarantee you at least what happened to me. The minute I'm introduced to like regular food, like my stomach's just like not gonna. Sit well, of all the oils and all that stuff, and just all the processed chemicals in the food and stuff.
So let me tell you a little something about that.
Yeah.
So check this out. I have an autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah.
And
histamine intolerance,
and
or
I have autoimmune, as in I have Hashimoto's disease, and then I have my grandma had lupus, and they've told me I had lupus in the past, but I haven't had like any like real big flare-ups on that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, my muscles in my body hurt a lot all the time, right? And I take medicine for it. Yeah. Well, when I was out there, it's crazy because my outer body hurt like because of the bites, but my skin had never. It was like started being so healthy. My skin was actually healthy, but there was one day where I sat there and I'm like, what the hell? Like nothing hurts. Yeah. Like my body, my bones didn't hurt. My gut never felt so good. And I guess because we were eating everything just in the raw, the bees, the honey, the fish, the plants, everything we were eating was just so pure that I was like, man, I remember telling my partner, like, I've never felt this healthy inside my body. Like
the foods are poison.
Swollen.
Yeah. The foods are poison here. Yeah.
It was an amazing feeling. I mean, a couple of days after I got back already, I was like, oh, everything hurts again, my stomach. And of course, I was there eating all kinds of stuff. But it literally is what we put in our bodies.
The reason why I say that is because like I have a histamine intolerance. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, but I got to take a Zyrtec every day for me to stop breaking out in hives and to be so itchy. Like I can't have red dye, yellow dye, like strawberries, watermelon, like all the processed chemicals in there and preservatives fuck with me, and like I developed dandruff and like I said, I get itchy all over the place. So I got to take a Zyrtec every day, So I was like trying to figure all that out, like how it is like being into that organic matter and then coming back to like all the chemicals and processed foods.
You just remind yourself of all that and like, oh I remember the stomach pain.
It makes it hard. It's just hard because here in in the U.S. it's hard to eat clean.
Yeah, and
it's with price, with food desert.
It is. And it's more expensive. It's more expensive.
Isn't
to
it
eat
crazy
clean.
to live healthier? It's more expensive.
It is more expensive if we're going to the grocery store.
It's all a setup.
Yeah, because you cook a bunch of game meat. That's what you.
I cook a lot of game meat. I do cook a lot of game meat at home. I cook everything from aoudad to hogs to axis to whitetail. And fish a lot. We eat a lot of fish as well. And my kids, I mean, they love it. They love game meat. I just recently, when I shot that buck, I mean, it was never frozen. I did some fresh meatloaf.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, it was freaking amazing. My kid, my kids tore it up. I took it to work. I shared it because I always want to get people to try it, because a lot of people have this mindset of it's not going to taste good, or they had a bad experience with it. Somebody didn't bleed it out right. Somebody didn't process it right, and they got a bad experience with it. And when they taste it, to see their face, they're like, this is freaking good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And like during 2020, when all that shit's going on, everybody's like, oh, shortage of meat. It's like, there's free meat running all around us, people. Why are y'all scared? Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just a system of the system that's set up.
Hog burgers, man, they're
you don't gotta
100
tell.
times better than a freaking beef burger.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what else is really good? Dove burgers.
Dove
Round up
burgers.
those
You're
doves.
talking my language
my
there.
gosh.
Dove, hey.
Good.
I'm a dove hunter. A two dove. I love dove hunting. So, that's awesome. That's
Dove
awesome.
burgers are off the chain.
Yeah, because Jesse Griffiths, he's a chef who owns...
He sent me a book. I have his hog book. He sent me his book. So I have it there. I'm waiting to shoot a hog so I can put it right next to the hog and take a picture of the book with the hog.
Nice.
Because, like you said, hogs have like this whole bad stigma, you know, that they have disease, they taste horrible and all that stuff. And all the times, like, I've cooked hog, you know, the whole stigma here in South Texas, like, that's got to be under 50 pounds. You know, anything more than that, like, I'm like...
No, I shot a 400-pound hog, and it tastes amazing. I took those ribs to work, and we smoked them, and everybody thought it was brisket. It was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a pet pig now, which I think... since I got my pet pig, I haven't shot a hog. That doesn't mean I'm not going to, but I think it's going to hurt more when I do.
Oh, man, you got a pet pig, fall in love with a pig, and then you're going to be out there and just looking at your...
Well, I have a lot of pets, though. Yeah. I have some snakes. I have two pythons.
He's going to be on the menu soon.
I have a black widow. Which is their poison. Their venom's actually 15 times more venomous than a rattlesnake.
You can sell it to the snake farm, the Texas snake farm.
Well, black widows aren't aggressive. They have this whole stigma that they're aggressive. They're only aggressive if you mess with them.
Yeah.
I had to so I worked in the oil industry before this. I worked with Black Rifle Coffee during the pandemic as like one of the cameramen for one of the owners, Richard Ryan. And then before that, I was working in the oil industry, and that's basically what I was doing for like majority of my 20s going into my 30s. But we were around rattlesnakes, we were around black widows, and black widows were never aggressive. It was just like don't fuck with them.
Yeah. So the only reason I have her is because I want to resin her, but I started feeding her and giving her water, and now she became a pet. But she was originally I was just gonna keep her. And when she died, I was gonna resin her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I did the same thing to my tarantula and my scorpion. But she, when you feed them and you give them water, they don't die. Yeah.
I know. Remind us when we do hang out and I take your son fishing, not to hang out too long because I don't want to end up in resin.
Okay. What kind of scorpion? Emperor scorpion or?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I used to have one. They're fucking awesome pets. But unfortunately, I didn't get a heat lamp, and mine ended up passing, and I wasn't aware, and it stunk so bad.
Yeah, so I resined them, so I have them they're still there now. Which is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
But
there you go. Well, shoot, I think that was a great. What are we at?
We're at an hour and 30 minutes.
Hour and 30 minutes. Is there anything else that you had to ask or wanted to ask?
Just real quick. How was it once you got a hold of honey in the episode?
Okay, so let me talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, because that was another thing I was trying to ask earlier during all that, because there was a time when you guys were getting stung by bees. Your partner's butt was right in your face.
He farted.
He probably did. He was always farting, just at random times too. We're doing something and then you just hear. I'm like, what the hell is that? Are you serious, dude?
I think Justin Governor, on a podcast, he talked about that his partner did the same thing. They were in the shelter and then she just ripped one, and he just got up and just man, fuck this. I'm not gonna be outside. I wanted to ask him about that.
Yeah, but so the honey. Talking about that real quick, the people have been giving me a lot of shit because I killed the bees. First of all, it's not the last freaking hive on the planet. There was shitload of hives everywhere. And when I kill the bees, they don't show that I go back and I collect those dead bees and I cook them and I eat them. We eat them.
Yeah. Stinger or not? Stinger or not?
I was still taking out stingers from the back of my palate when I got home. You know, and I tried to take off most of the stingers, but there was a lot of bees in there. And anyways, we ate the honey, we ate the honeycomb, we ate the larvae, which those larvae were nasty. You can feel them like popping your teeth, and it was like goo.
What did they taste like? Those larvae?
Nasty. They taste
sour?
like death.
Yeah.
like death.
And I think because some of them had already been dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And when you ate them, it's like
It tasted like death, like the way it smells.
I'm there eating them.
Yeah, because I've ate scorpions before, I've ate crickets before, and all that, and I'm like trying to figure out kind of like the taste profile if it's similar to that.
But that little bit of honey, the first day, that little bit of honey, I'm talking about. My body was feeling really depleted, and all of a sudden, bam! I had this burst of energy. I'm talking about. I made a whole cheer and everything. Like I was like all of a sudden, I was like on this hype. Like,
yeah, your body got that natural sugar, and it just took off.
like I was like so energized and then all of a sudden it went down, of course.
Yeah.
But for a little while, it really did boost up my energy levels.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I got a lot of shit for the bees.
Like through Instagram, you came back and people were just like,
when they showed the episode, everybody's like, I can't believe she went and killed those bees. Yeah, I had to eat.
They could all suck a dick.
I was hungry. Yeah, it's called survival. And yes, I did kill the bees. And if there was a beehive in my backyard right now and it was posing a threat to my kids, I would go take that down too.
Yeah, because Paul Saldino says like how much like I don't know if you're familiar of him. He's like a carnivore MD on Instagram. He talks about like just this tribe that specifically eat like just straight meat, but then they eat so much honey. Like the honey's where they get all their like energy and carbs from, and that's what I want to like ask you on that. Once you're depleted of everything, how did that honey feel?
Oh my gosh, it was a whole boost of energy all of a sudden, and I was like hyper. I'm talking about. I made a cheer. I sure did do a whole cartwheel cheer in the jungle.
They do say, I mean, sugar is like the purest, the closest thing to pure energy for a human. So
and even like eating the honeycomb wasn't tasty at all, and the bees were not tasty. I mean, they were okay, but the energy that it gave us was so worth it.
Oh yeah, 100% it was.
Now there's something absolutely disgusting with that was that freaking grub. Oh, it tastes like the skin on it is like leather.
Yeah.
And I was like pulling little pieces of like that leatherish out of my teeth. It was disgusting.
I think I would have just fished
I tried
more.
to burn it as much as I could.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw how crisp it is, but I tried to burn it, so maybe I won't have to.
Crunchy versus leathery.
Yeah, but man, it was disgusting.
That's funny. That's good.
And then those plants, I don't know if you saw, we were eating the plants and we look all miserable because he ditched me in the field.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that was like the first 10 minutes.
He ditched me in the field.
When you went to go get the palms, you went out there to try to go those palm leaves.
So the heart of palm contains plant-based protein.
Okay.
Not only that, but it's a big piece to where it's going to supply food.
Yeah.
But he was only worried about getting stuff for the shelter. We still didn't have fire and we still didn't have food. Mm. Like, let's get this food. But no, he freaking ditched me. And we had to travel a good ways just to get there because there was no small palms inside the jungle. We had to travel outside the jungle to get that. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? He ditched me.
Yeah, well, the minute he started getting bit by mosquitoes, like, I can't do this. And you just went out there to go fucking,
and I was mad.
And just went to go get it. And I would have been mad too. Like,
I was like, dude, we could have got this. You're worried about getting freaking palm fronds. like we need food, fire, and water right now. That's like their main thing. And then so he ditches me. It didn't make it, but we did go back and and we got the heart of the palm. I got the heart of the palm and we were able to eat that. And when we didn't have our hooks anymore, that's what helped get us by.
Yeah, you said he lost the hooks?
So I lost a hook with a big piranha.
Yeah.
And then he lost a hook fishing. And he lost a hook. He took my hook off my trap. He went and cut it off. He made his own trap, and he lost my hook.
Dang. So they gave you 3 hooks.
So technically I had 4, but the first one, I don't remember what happened to the other one anymore.
Yeah.
Probably one of the fish. Like so 6-pound mono.
Yeah.
Is all I was able to take.
Yeah, we were wondering what they gave you. I was like, they gave him Berkeley big game, 8 pound.
So 6-pound mono.
To survive in the jungle.
Freaking piranhas have teeth that are just bite right through it.
Yeah, what? But they didn't give no leaders or nothing? Or,
Nothing.
Well-
So I went and I got a stick and I made a fishing rod. Or fishing pole. I made a fishing pole and I just tied it. I tied the string and I put the hook. And there was a day where it felt like man, we hadn't eaten. You couldn't find, for some reason, that first couple of days, nothing, not a cricket, not a grub, like nothing. All of a sudden, I found that little grub, or we found that little grub, and they took it right away. And then after that, nothing. And then all of a sudden, I got that one little fish. I put it in there, and the piranhas just like quick and just like ate it. It looked like a cloud of like just. I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, oh shit. And then so. After that, it was already getting evening. We still hadn't eaten. And I'm like, man, this is it. Like, we didn't get nothing. We're going to go another day without eating. I'm walking up, and I just fall to the floor. And they're like, I'm like, looking at the cameraman's like, looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, I got a grasshopper.
Yeah, I remember seeing.
I was like, I got a grasshopper. So I went back, and then I caught this fish. And when I pull out the fish, it's like on a steep hill that the freaking fish goes back and I lose it. I'm like, no. But then my grasshopper was still on there. So I got it, and that's where I started. And so right when I got that first fish, I was able to use his head and his guts for bait and continue getting them. Nice. So then after that, of course, he was like, he kept saying like, oh, why do you keep wanting to fish? Why do you keep wanting to fish? And after that, he was like wanting to go use my pole to fish. And I'm like, and you go right ahead, you get as many fish, because when you're down there, you're getting eaten alive rather than being by the fire. That kind of helps a little bit. Yeah. So he was going down and getting them, and we were both kind of alternating and getting them, but after that, that supplied food for us for almost 2 weeks.
From fish.
A fish, just fish. And then he was getting mad, like, why do you want to get a bigger fish? So they didn't show where I would make minnow traps, right? And I would get the mud and I would create these minnow traps. Yeah. And I would use my nails, like, because I had my nails done and they had glitter, and I would kind of like move my nails in there.
Yeah, and the gloss would
and it would attract the minnows, and I would catch the minnows, and we were using those for bait. They didn't show none of that? They didn't show none of that.
Yeah. So that's actually really smart.
Yeah, I know.
So,
yeah, you're like using like a spoon as your nails. And
so that's what I would do. I made the mud, and I made these big old minnow traps, and I was bringing in the fish like that. And then after that, I would close off the other part of the trap, and then I would just catch them, and then I would use it. But I was out. My partner wasn't letting me use the pot. He would come and take it because I wanted to use it to get the minnows. Yeah. But my partner was being an ass. He wouldn't let me use the pot for that. I was trying to use the pot to take water to make my fall trap.
So you're fighting two battles. Yeah. Your partner and
so
with the
I would try to take the water up because I was trying to use that to make that fall trap, which he wasn't letting me use his knife. The mud was really hard, and all the sticks were breaking, and I couldn't make it. And so I would go get the water. Well, then he would come and get the pot, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding?" One time, I think I just threw it. I was like, "Here, take the fucking shit."
Jeez, like, but you said about 10 days in, y'all kind of cooled out.
Kind of. We still had I had to bite my tongue a lot.
I mean, I would imagine he was just a fucking Debbie Downer. Like, I'm not trying to go at him or anything like that. It's just like,
this is a survival situation.
It was a survival situation where both of y'all have to work together. And if you have experience, hunting, he needs to just shut the fuck up, allow you to do your fucking thing, listen to you. But he was like, nah, we're doing this.
So we would have had game meat. Because that LN7 trap that I made would have worked great. But because he didn't let me use his knife to carve it in more, I wasn't able to use that. And then he didn't even my other trap almost got something. Yeah. But I give it some more time, I would have gotten something, because that hook wasn't going anywhere. I'm telling you right now, that hook I knotted that shit up good on there. That shit wasn't going anywhere. And the jungle vine was tired. The slip knot was gonna work. Yeah. Like I had already tested everything. It was gonna work had he not went and cut off my hook and did what he did. But one of my traps would have worked. I would have had game meat. But I literally had to put my mindset as in, I'm doing this without a knife, because you're not going to be asking him for his knife because he's being a little bitch about it. So
why wouldn't he let you just use the knife for y'all?
I mean, he's not going to break it or anything like that.
Because he's like, you're going to dull my knife.
Oh my God.
No, he didn't.
He sure did.
Oh, man.
He sure did say that.
Man.
I wish they would have showed it.
Where is he from? Like,
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. That's why.
And
they got soft hands.
Yeah, hey, no, he literally does, man. Like that's what
they got soft hands.
Hey, that's why I was calling him a soy boy.
Dang. So he was just sabotaging y'all from the jump.
Yeah. So it was.
That's funny.
And I did say that. I was like, it feels like I'm having to deal with two different challenges.
Yeah, you're fighting two battles.
The challenge of my partner and the challenge of having to survive the jungle.
Exactly.
Because if I had a badass partner, man, we fucking killed it. I know it right off the bat.
No, 100%. You know, you were destined to succeed in that show, but like I said, you just constantly had somebody being constantly negative, just a huge Debbie Downer. Like that's just going to keep adding like, you know, a brick walls in front of your path, you know?
Oh yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you ended up succeeding. My other question was, how was it like getting bit by one of the piranhas?
So I didn't get bit too bad. He got bit bad twice, where I get blood and everything. For me, I mean, I've been bit by a lot of things. So I mean, it was like a kind of a nip, but I guess it kind of just like just a corner kind of got me. So it didn't really like cut skin, it just scratched it, so it wasn't bad. Now he got actually like it sliced his skin, the piranha.
Jesus.
So yeah, he's the one. So in the beginning he cut himself with a knife. He cut himself pretty good actually. They didn't show it. Didn't you can't see the cut on the thing.
I think there was,
but it
one
was
angle
worse.
that it
Yeah, it was worse. So they ended up having to treat that for him, and then he got bit by the piranhas, and then of course he went. So I got stung a lot by the bees too. They didn't show that because they said I didn't react at all. Like they said here, like you at the end when we were all done, one of the camera guys like, dude, you were getting stung up and you never even like reacted, you know. And I guess that's why they showed him, because he like really reacted to it. And with me, I had already blocked that out. I was like, I'm on a mission, get this honey, you know. And I didn't react to it, but I got stung up a lot by those. There was one time where one of the thorns, I had so many thorns on the bottom of my foot that I was using my hooks to open it and get them out.
Yeah.
And one of them got kind of infected, so it was like all this pus, this green pus. I kept having to squeeze it out, but then I'm like, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna get medically tapped out. For this stupid cut. So I really wouldn't say anything. I just kept like draining it, and I got some sap from the tree, and I would put it on there, like before I went to sleep, so that I wouldn't walk on it, and I would put that sap on there too, and it seems like it would help heal it.
Really?
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, because there's almost like a glue kind of, so it's like just kind of, you know.
When they did find that out, like when they did see your feet, were they like, dang, you didn't say nothing, or?
No, you have it's your option to really want to, you know, you can say something, and then unless they really see something bad, then they have to, against your will, they'll medically tap you out.
And quick question, was it your idea to smoke the bees out?
No. Oh, wait. So he originally found the beehive. Yeah. And what we did with him kind of putting the smoking, that was his idea. Yeah. But then he quit. Once he got stung, he was done. He quit.
Yeah, and then you just went out there.
He quit, and then I went for a couple of days. I was smoking him out. So that was like, okay, now I got a new plan. I'm going to do my own plan. And I worked at it. He wouldn't help me at all. I worked at it. Now, he was the type that when I was about to complete something, he wanted to be the one to show that he did it. Yeah. So once I was
that guy
done,
in the group project that shows up on the day of the presentation.
So once I was done with it, then he went to the beehive to go get some stuff, and I'm like, and even like save the heart of the palm. You know, I had been there, and I'm there doing it. Right when I was almost done, he's like, "Here, I got it."
Dang, you guys trying to steal your shine. You got dealt some bad hands, huh? That's crazy.
But I mean, like I said, in the end, we were cool. And the crazy thing is, you know, we had this get sent back home together. So we had to like sit next to each other, like in the plane
with clothes on.
Dude, I had not seen him without clothes. I mean, with clothes on, I had not seen him. So when we were done, and he comes up with clothes, I was like, the fuck kind of clothes does he have on? It's all freaking bright and colory, and
REI,
some little
REI
tiny
clothes.
Shorts, and I don't know. I was like,
you were like, I wish we could have picked our partners based on the clothes they wear.
I was like, what the heck? Yeah, and it's just so weird seeing him with clothes afterwards.
He's a poster boy for REI. REI employees, basically.
I remember him saying that at the beginning, like, I test out the dope ass equipment.
Yeah, he's a bougie backpacker, basically. Yeah.
Ooh.
So.
Well, that's the thing is like, man, you take away all those fucking comforts. Like, you still have fucking comforts doing all that. You take away all those fucking comforts, like.
Yeah. So he was raised with money.
Yeah.
We talked. I was raised extremely poor. I lived in the courts. There was times where we were.
I know exactly where that's at. boxing gym was called Ron's Boxing Gym. So I used to run through Lincoln Courts and all
Yeah,
that.
I lived in the courts. I was raised with almost nothing. There was times where we struggled really hard.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like cable or a car or a phone or none of that. You know, we really did struggle. My mom was a single mom here and there. I was back and forth between my mom and my grandparents, and it was really hard upbringing. And I feel like that has made me into a humble person, and I can deal with a lot without having to complain. And him, it was like he would wake me up too. And like every little thing, like for being somebody that's supposedly outdoors on your own, like why the fuck are you so needy? Like he would wake me up and he'd be like, "Can you give me that stick?"
Yeah.
Like a little stick. And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And there was one time I thought he burned me. I was asleep, right? And I guess a piece of the fire comes in, and you'll see the cut you'll see it on the burn on this episode, and a piece comes and burns me. So I get up and I'm pissed. I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he's sitting there and he has his feet like together, and he's like, "I didn't do it. I swear I didn't do it." And he saw me fucking. I was pissed, dude.
With the shank and all.
I mean, that's funny, dude. I mean, the way you describe him, right? Guy from New Hampshire, you know, colorful clothes, REI spokesperson, soft hands, raised with money. I mean, all the stigmas fit with that. So that's cool.
People want to know, do we still talk? We are friends on Instagram. Yes, we are friends. Do we talk? No, we don't even heart each other's shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good thing. That's some insight right there. So, but I think from your perspective, everything you said you've been through, all the explanations, it makes sense why you don't talk. You know, you grew up two different ways.
Yeah.
You grew up doing two different things. The way you described him, while may come off as offensive to some, to us it makes sense. A bougie backpacker.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who is able to do these crazy things because of the monetary gain, because of the monetary like ability, not gain, and then of course because they want to, not because they have to.
So a lot of my hunting and fishing is I never really had, so I've always had to improvise. So I've learned, and that's one of the things I always say. I will always figure it out because my whole life is about improvising and figuring shit out.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it shows. It shows with the way the episodes went. It just shows the way you talk. I mean, the whole nine, just the whole experience from your point of view, from his, you know, obviously maybe one day we could have maybe his point of view since we've already interviewed you. And I'm sure it's just going to be completely different.
Yeah. And I tell you, you know, when I was being interviewed for them, they asked me, like, what are the things you don't like in a person? I could swear they set out and found that exact fucking person.
They probably did. I was gonna say that they probably had that because in a survival situation, you don't get to pick who you're stuck with.
Next time I'm gonna tell them everything I like in a person.
Yeah. Like sabotage it on purpose if you get cast.
And I'm gonna end up with this amazing partner.
Some guy from the streets who's just with you, won't tap out on you. Yeah, you'll want to cuddle him. That's funny. Well, that was a great interview. Is there anything or anyone that you want to plug, like your social media, what you're doing?
My social media is outdoorsmal007.
Okay.
That's on Instagram, TikTok.
Spell it out just for...
OUTDOORSMAL007.
Awesome.
Okay.
And that's on Instagram?
That's Instagram. And Facebook's going to be Malorie Ann, MALORIE, and then ANN. And then anybody I would like to just give a shout out to my outdoorsman crew, True Outdoorsmen. And we've all, you know, we're nothing big, but I've known them since I was 16 years old. And we hunt, we fish, we talk shit to each other. And that has really helped me to be who I am today as well.
Nice. Okay. That camaraderie.
Oh, yeah.
The being able to count on them, the understanding, the hardships. And just
teaching each other and, you know.
Constantly learning.
Improvising, learning to improvise, all of us. So.
And one quick thing, I guess to any women out there that you would want, you know, to like take out fishing like that, like, you know, just on social media, you want to give it a shot.
Hit me up. I'm always down to take some.
Yeah. We're about.
I'm all about getting women out there.
Yeah, that's
anybody
us.
who wants to get out there, let me know. Kids, I love to see kids get out there and fish.
Sweet.
That, you know, to see that the reaction on their face as soon as they
you
kill
starting that
something or
addiction.
pull something. It's
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, yes.
So I was laughing because you said any women I'm trying to get out there, and he's like, "That's us." It's not what he meant, but I get, you heard it. He was like, "I'm trying to get any women out there," and he's like, "That's us."
It was like that, man. It's just,
I get what you're saying. He's saying we're trying to knock down the gate kept doors.
That stigma.
The
too.
stigma that being an outdoorsman is expensive. Being an outdoorsman is more of a, we had talked about it, a colorist thing, an ageist thing. We're trying to just strictly make it informative. We're trying to get people who maybe are scared to ask the questions, able to ask questions. And like I was telling you at the beginning, I feel like sometimes some women can be intimidated by like trying to be in a male dominated area. It is what it's the nature of the beast. So if any women out there want to learn how to fish, learn how to hunt, learn how to survive in the wild for 21 days, definitely hit her up.
Hit me up.
Exactly. Be part of the crew.
And and for me, I don't get me wrong, I love to hunt, I love to fish, I love catching fish, but I get more joy in seeing somebody else catch, especially for the first time, or take down their first buck or something. That right there is like, man.
Yeah.
It's really it's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm. Until you've done it, you may not understand what that is. If you're listening to this, you definitely have. But if you haven't, if you're new to the channel, whenever you do, or new to the pod as well, whenever you do experience that first, that first big bass, even as a kid, that first bluegill, you're like, I'm hooked, literally. Yeah. So
I tell you, that was my son the other day reeling him the white bass. He was reeling him in, and when he lost that one,
he was pissed.
To see him cry, like, you know what?
You knew you were like,
I've been there. I know that pain.
He's gonna be all right. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
You for having me.
And hopefully we can do another one. We'll see where it goes. We'll definitely get together. Connection that we had with the CHD. And guys, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you check out the pod, and make sure you come and buy products here at Outdoor Alphas. Our biggest sponsor. We're gonna hook her up with some down south lures because she likes to do saltwater. So we're gonna get her taken care of, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. You have anything?
And just like, share, subscribe, and please rate the show. That's it.
Yes, sir. We'll see you. Peace.
Later.